Welcome to Audiobook 365 Stories.
On his way to the station, William remembered with a fresh feeling of sadness that he was taking nothing for the children. Poor little kids. It was tough for them. Their first words were always, as they ran to greet him, "What did you bring for me, Daddy?" And he had nothing. He would have to buy them some sweets at the station, but he had done that for the past 4 Saturdays. Their faces had fallen last time when they saw the same old boxes again, and Patty had said, "I had red ribbon on mine before," and Johnny had said, "It's always pink on mine. I hate pink." But what was William to do? The problem wasn't easy to solve. In the old days, he would have taken a taxi to a good toy shop and chosen something for them in 5 minutes. But now they had Russian toys, French toys, Serbian toys, toys from many countries. It had been over a year since Isabel had thrown away the old donkeys and engines because they were too dreadfully sentimental and so bad for the baby's sense of form. "It's so important," the new Isabel had explained, "that they should like the right things from the beginning. It saves so much time later." Really, if the poor kids have to spend their baby years looking at these ugly things, they might grow up and want to visit the Royal Academy. And she spoke as though a visit to the Royal Academy was sure to kill anyone. "Well, I don't know," said William slowly. "When I was their age, I used to go to bed hugging an old towel with a knot in it." The new Isabel looked at him, her eyes narrow, her lips apart. "Dear William, I'm sure you did." She laughed in a new way. Sweets it would have to be, thought William sadly, looking in his pocket for money for the taxi driver. And he saw the kids handing the boxes around. They were very generous little kids, while Isabel's special friends didn't hesitate to help themselves. What about fruit? William stopped in front of a stall just inside the station. What about a melon each? Would they have to share that, too? Or a pineapple for Patty and a melon for Johnny? Isabel's friends could hardly go sneaking up to the nursery at the children's meal times. All the same, as he bought the melon, William had a horrible vision of one of Isabel's young poets eating a slice, for some reason, behind the nursery door. With his 2 very awkward parcels, he walked off to his train. The platform was crowded. The train was there. Doors banged open and shut. There was such a loud hissing from the engine that people looked confused as they hurried around. William went straight to a first-class carriage, put away his suitcase and parcels, and taking a huge bunch of papers out of his inner pocket, he threw himself down in the corner and began to read. "Our client is sure. We are thinking to change if—" that was better. William smoothed back his flat hair and stretched his legs across the floor of the carriage. The familiar dull ache in his chest quieted down. "About our decision," he took out a blue pencil and slowly marked a paragraph. 2 men came in, stepped over him, and went to the far corner. A young man put his golf clubs in the rack and sat down opposite him. The train started to move gently, and they were off. William looked up and saw the hot, bright station moving away. A red-faced girl ran along by the carriages, waving and calling. She looked very upset. "Crazy," thought William sadly. Then a dirty, black-faced worker at the end of the platform smiled at the passing train. And William thought, "A hard life," and went back to his papers. When he looked up again, There were fields and animals standing under the dark trees. A wide river, with naked children playing in the shallow water, came into view and was gone again. The sky was pale, and one bird flew high like a dark spot in a jewel. We have looked at our client's letters. The last sentence he read echoed in his mind. We have looked. William held on to that sentence, but it was no good. It broke in the middle, and the fields, the sky, the flying bird, the water, all said, Isabel. The same thing happened every Saturday afternoon. When he was on his way to meet Isabel, he had many imaginary meetings. She was at the station, standing a little apart from everyone else. She was sitting in the taxi outside. She was at the garden gate, walking across the dry grass, at the door, or just inside the hall. And her clear, light voice said, It's William, or Hello, William, or So William has come. He touched her cool hand, her cool cheek, the fresh feeling of Isabel. When he was a little boy, he loved to run into the garden after a rain and shake the rose bush over him. Isabel was like that rose bush, soft, sparkling, and cool, and he was still that little boy. But there was no running into the garden now, no laughing and shaking. The dull, constant ache in his chest started again. He pulled up his legs, tossed the papers aside, and shut his eyes. What is it, Isabel? What is it? He said gently. They were in their bedroom in the new house. Isabel sat on a painted stool before the dressing table that was covered with little black and green boxes. What is what, William? And she bent forward, and her fine light hair fell over her cheeks. Ah, you know. He stood in the middle of the room and felt like a stranger. Then Isabel turned around quickly and faced him. Oh, William, she cried pleadingly, and she held up the hairbrush. Please, please don't be so serious and sad. You're always saying or looking or hinting that I've changed. Just because I've met new people and go out more and am very excited about everything, you act as if I'd— Isabel tossed back her hair and laughed. Killed our love or something. It's so silly. She bit her lip. And it's so annoying, William. Even this new house and the servants you gave me. Isabel. Yes, yes, it's true in a way, said Isabel quickly. You think they are another bad sign. Oh, I know you do. I feel it, she said softly, every time you come up the stairs. But we couldn't have gone on living in that small, cramped house, William. Be practical, at least. There wasn't enough room for the babies even. No, it was true. Every morning when he came back from work, he found the babies with Isabel in the back living room. They were riding on the leopard skin thrown over the sofa back, or they were playing shops with Isabel's desk for a counter, or Pad was sitting on the hearth rug rowing with a little brass fire shovel, while Johnny shot at pirates with the tongs. Every evening they each had a piggyback ride up the narrow stairs to their fat old nanny. Yes, he supposed it was a small house. A little white house with blue curtains and a window box of petunias. William met their friends at the door with, "Seen our petunias? Pretty amazing for London, don't you think?" But the stupid thing, the really strange thing, was that he had no idea that Isabel wasn't as happy as he was. God, what blindness! He didn't know at all in those days that she really hated that small house, that she thought the fat nanny was ruining the babies, that she was very lonely, wishing for new people and new music and pictures and so on. If they hadn't gone to that studio party at Moira Morrison's, if Moira Morrison hadn't said as they were leaving, "I'm going to rescue your wife, selfish man. She's like an exquisite little Titania." If Isabel hadn't gone with Moira to Paris, if the train stopped at another station, Bedingford, good heavens, they'd be there in 10 minutes. William put the papers back into his pockets. The young man opposite had left a long time ago. Now the other two got out. The late afternoon sun shone on women in cotton dresses and little sunburnt, barefoot children. It blazed on a silky yellow flower with rough leaves which spread over a bank of rock. The air coming through the window smelled of the sea. Had Isabel the same friends with her this weekend? Wondered William. And he remembered the holidays they used to have, the four of them, with a little farm girl, Rose, to look after the babies. Isabel wore a sweater and her hair in a braid. She looked about 14. Lord, how his nose used to peel. And the amount they ate, and the amount they slept in that huge feather bed with their feet locked together. William couldn't help a sad smile as he thought of Isabel's horror if she knew how sentimental he was.